Welcome back to Zandvoort for two more races in the GB3 Championship. I'm Jon Jackson with Piers, the Fire Pryor, alongside me here in the pit lane. And we had a really exciting race yesterday. Great conditions today compared to yesterday, though.
Yes, yesterday's race was dramatic because of the conditions. Rain sporadically throughout the race at different parts of the circuit made tricky conditions for the drivers, but great viewing for you at home. But today, a little bit warmer, no less windy, but it's probably going to be dry for most of the day.
It has threatened to be nice, hasn't it? I've even got emergency sunglasses here, just in case. The sun has been out a little bit earlier this morning. Just as we start this broadcast, though, a really ominous-looking cloud overhead. But that wouldn't worry drivers too much, that grey cloud?
Nah, it's going to clear. It's going to be all good. It's actually, the sun's been out a couple of times this morning, and track temperature will be up a bit. So that will be playing into the team's decisions on tyre pressures and setup.
Excellent stuff. Well, let's talk about yesterday's race very quickly, because we have Jon Bennett on pole position again today, and Jon Bennett won Lights the Flag yesterday, and a great drive for him.
An undoubtedly great drive, actually, because he had to do it twice effectively, and not in easy conditions. He got away well at the start, pulled across ahead of Timur Kuharczyk, and then pulled a nearly 3-second gap. Safety car, which of course eroded that complete gap, and then he pulled away once again when he was the first one arriving at every corner to with the changeable conditions. So a very well measured race, good pace from Jon Bennett, and using that experience he's got in this championship to full effect. We
have Timur Kuharczyk, who has a lot of Polish supporters actually. You probably can't make it out behind us, but we may see it a little bit later. There's a Polish flag draped across the grandstand up there, so some Polish fans have come across here to the Netherlands to support Timur Kuharczyk. Obviously, finishing second yesterday, still second in the championship behind Louis Sharp. The Rodin driver still has a slender lead there. Another front row start, and also could potentially be another podium for High-Tech Pole State and extending this incredible run.
High-Tech are really on it this year. They've got, we spoke about it briefly yesterday, but clearly car set up every round we go to, especially on these overseas rounds, is pretty much bang on. They've got 3 drivers pretty much every session. Qualifying, practice, races are right there in terms of pace, and it's just a perfect storm of performance for them. So, really impressive. And Kuharczyk being the leading driver this weekend so far. But, of course, McIntyre is right there as well in the championship.
Absolutely he is. Well, we talked about it enough, so let's watch highlights of what happened yesterday, the first of 3 races here at Zandvoort this weekend in the GB3 Championship.
Round 13 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. It was Jon Bennett starting from pole position and leading from pole position over Timur Kuharczyk down into the first corner. It wasn't so much of a comfortable lead though, as all the battling was happening behind, with Louis Sharp trying to fend off James Headley as they would be working their way through the first corner. But Jon Bennett would have the whole shot and would lead up towards turn 2. Plenty of battling behind as Mackenzie Cresswell was working his way up the order straight around the outside of Louis Sharp, as Noah Ping would go wide at the penultimate corner before rejoining the race circuit a few positions lower than when he went off. An unfortunate retirement for the JHR Developments driver in the Hard Rock Cocktails, of course, car of Patrick Hoytzenroder, that had been off and into the barrier. Unfortunately, the car looked okay. It caused a safety car, and once we got back racing, Jon Bennett was feeling the pressure, but an excellent restart from him would see him pulling away from Kuharczyk again. Meanwhile, Louis Sharp had got stuck behind a back marker of Ed Pearson and was having the pressure of Hugo Schwartz to try to work his way past. Colin Queen trying to stop the gap behind to try and get himself up inside the top 5. Was unable to do so, with Mackenzie Cresswell and Noah Ping making contact with the penultimate corner. It would be an unfortunate retirement from Mackenzie Cresswell, would have to return to pit lane to repair the damage. Sebastian Murray would be into the barrier at turn 2 late on in the race. It wouldn't require a safety car, but was an unfortunate retirement from him. Jon Bennett would come down towards the line to take his second victory of the season, ahead of Kuharczyk and James Headley.
Yeah, as we said there, great win for Jon Bennett. Timur Kuharczyk doing very well as well. And nice to see James Headley with Rodin on the podium. Him and Jon Bennett haven't been on the podium together ever. And it could be, in theory, be James Headley's last race of the season in GB3. He's only standing in for Rodin for this last race weekend. So, yeah, good to see them on the podium. Now, there was a little bit of an incident out there, wasn't there, between Noah Ping and Mackenzie Cresswell. Yeah. Briefly just tell us what it is, and then we'll hear from Noah Ping.
Well, we probably saw it in the highlights there, but they came together a couple of times, and unfortunately it led to Mackenzie Cresswell's retirement from the race, and also hampered Noah Ping's progress as well.
Well, look, Piers caught up with Noah Ping and also Mackenzie Cresswell. We'll hear from Noah Ping first.
Noah Ping down at the VRD by Arden Truck. Pace in testing has been really good. Unfortunately, qualifying maybe didn't quite go your way, but you didn't hold any punches in the first race of the weekend.
No, definitely. Yeah, I think we got caught out by the weather a bit, especially because I went off early in the wet practice on FP2 on Friday, so we got caught out for sure and just lacked some laps, but we have insane pace in the dry. You know, Nikita, me, Sean have all been up in the top 5 for sure in the dry, so we got a good setup on the car this weekend. The sun's out, so hopefully we got some pace, and yeah, made up a few positions on the start yesterday, and just conditions caught me out in the last corner. So luckily I don't think we're going to get that today, so we'll just keep our head forward and make some good moves and move forward for sure, try and get in that top 10.
Well, let's have a quick recap from yesterday's race. You're always in the mix, aren't you, Noah? And I love that about you. You're very much a racer. First lap looked pretty mega. Just talk us to us a bit about that.
Yeah, it was good. The lights went out really quick, and I think there's an issue with the board yesterday, so I got caught up by the lights going out so quick. But we got off the line okay, got a little wheel spin, and then you just picked them off one by one and kind of filled the gap where it needed to be filled, and got lucky with some conditions being a bit wet, like turn 8, 9, 10. So yeah, outside line, inside line, it all works. So hopefully we can do the same thing today. It's going to be a bit trickier because we don't have the rain that will catch some people out, but we'll see what we can do, and yeah, definitely try and get a better launch off the line this race. Yeah.
We saw you actually moving up the field, and you got inside the top 10, having a fight with Mackenzie. A little bit of a coming together. Just what happened there?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Again, the weather. You know, I tried to get down low, and I ended up on the racing line, and it was completely wet because everybody was running the outside. So I just kind of got on the rubber line, and unfortunately lost all the grip I had in the car and just kind of washed up. And then unfortunately we got a little incident in turn 1. I won't put anybody to blame, but I felt as if I got hit into Cresswell, which is unfortunate because I know he DNF'd from it. So yeah, unfortunate, and I hate coming together with people, but sometimes it just happens when the conditions are tricky. So I hate it for everybody, but I'm going to race hard. I'm going to try and race as clean as I can. So I'm a racer. I'll make a move if it's there.
No doubt about that. You are a racer. Close racing, sometimes these things happen, but we'll see how you get on in the final races of the weekend.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thoughts of Noah Ping there. He'll start 14th today. Mackenzie Creswell will start 5th. So you would imagine, unless Mackenzie has a particularly bad start or Noah has an incredible start, they won't be tussling again today in race 2, but you never know. Weirder things have happened. That's what Noah made of that incident. Let's hear what happened when Piers caught up with Mackenzie.
Mackenzie, we just caught up with Noah Ping, and unfortunately you guys came together yesterday, which put end to your race, but up until then it was pretty dramatic.
Yeah, it was. It was a very topsy-turvy race. It was going really well at the start, and then just before the safety car, I made a small mistake, which put me a little bit further down the grid. And then yeah, me and Noah, the safety car restart, we were certainly racing pretty close. Yeah, we came together at turn 1. That was actually sort of a 3 into 1 doesn't go, but yeah, before that he was very aggressive into some of the corners. Yes. It was a tough race for sure. It's a big shame we didn't get any points from that because the pace was really good at the start, but that's how the sport goes sometimes.
Absolutely, it's close racing and sometimes these things happen, but you know, you mentioned the positive was your pace was really good and that was evident. It's going to be probably dry today. Of course, yesterday was mixed conditions. What can you guys do? I know you've been very quick in the dry conditions this weekend.
Yeah, we should have a good race. It's tricky to overtake here, but I think it's definitely possible, as we showed yesterday at the start. So I'm going to be giving it everything. I'm going to try and make up for the points we lost yesterday, hopefully with a good result. I'm just going to see what comes my way and hopefully get on the podium.
Yeah, consistency has been one of the strengths of your season so far. You've pretty much been there or thereabouts every round so far. You know, looking into the second half of the year as we are now, what's the aim for the rest of the year?
I think, yeah, just keep the consistency up. Obviously, we need to be consistently a little bit higher. We don't want to be consistently P5, P6. That's not why we're here. So, yeah, we're going to fight for as much as we can to get higher up the grid. Hope to get a couple wins under our belt and try and close the gap to the guys at the front of the championship.
Brilliant. And also, I noticed you've got a World Cup football T-shirt on. What do you reckon is going to happen in the football later on today?
I don't know. I don't want to say my thoughts. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'll say that.
Brilliant. And Mackenzie, we'll see how you get on in the races today. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's Mackenzie Creswell driving with Elite Motorsports. He'll be starting 5th on the grid today, so potential for him to get another podium. We've seen him on the podium quite a lot throughout last year, and it'd be good to see Mackenzie back on there again. Carl, you want to briefly talk about a driver in a car behind us is Colin Queen. Had a good drive yesterday, Piers?
Yeah, we saw quite a few drivers come through the field in yesterday's races, one of which was Noah Ping until his incident, and also Colin Queen with one of his best races of the season so far, the GB4 graduate. Came well inside the top 10, finished 7th from starting out a few places down outside the top 10. Showed great pace, measured drive in the tricky conditions, and he's going to hope to go well again in this race, because again he's qualified outside the top 12, so hasn't got the benefit of the reverse grid bump up in race 3.
Well, look, that's one driver who's graduated from the GB4 Championship. We have live coverage of the second race of that weekend coming up soon from Snetterton. Another driver we saw in GB4 is Jared Waberski, and he had a great drive yesterday, starting 17th, finishing 10th, and Piers caught up with him earlier.
Jared, we know you struggled in qualifying, not where you wanted to be considering your pace and testing, but a pretty good redemption in race number 1.
Yeah, obviously qualifying was super disappointing after testing being pretty much quickest in most of Thursday, and then in the top 3 throughout Friday as well. So yeah, we came into qualifying really positive. It was looking dry initially for quali, so we had a complete dry setup on the car, and we kind of had to bolt wets on in the last minute when it started raining. And I just couldn't really adapt to the car really well, and yeah, we just struggled in qualifying. So yeah, we were P17 for all 3 races, which is really disappointing. Race 1 was good, had a really good start. Moved up to P10. I was pretty much just picking people off one lap at a time. The safety car kind of helped because it kind of bunched everyone up again, and then got a few more places after that. So yeah, overall a good race, and yeah, looking forward to doing it again tomorrow.
Car's clearly working well in the dry conditions. You had great pace in that race.
Yeah, the car's really rapid. I mean, we should be fighting for double pole and for race wins here, really. So it's just a bit of another frustrating weekend. But the best thing we can do now is just to go out and maximise as many points as we can, and then move on to Silverstone.
And then 2 more races to come this weekend. Unfortunately, you missed out on the reverse top 12, but you can still fight through like you did in race 1. It'll be a good weekend considering the difficulties.
Yeah, obviously the goal is just to get as many points as we can and just pass as many people as we can in all 3 races. So we won't be in the top 12 reverse, but yeah, hopefully I should be fighting forward again and getting into the top 10 for sure next year.
We look forward to seeing you battle through the field.
Thank you very much.
Jared Waberski there, having a great day yesterday, looking for another great day today, and hello to everyone back home in South Africa. I know he's got a huge support watching, so hello, always great to hear from you. We're going to hand over in just a second to Lewis McGlade, who will talk you through the hot lap of the track, so you can see what it's like to drive around here from the driver's perspective. Piers has run off to join him, and we'll have live commentary after that. So here is a hot lap around the circuit here at Zandvoort.
So a hot lap of Circuit Zandvoort, then of course in the tricky wet conditions, 4.2 kilometres all the way around as we head down into Tarzan. Banked corner, you want to take that slightly higher line. When it's dry, you want to be slightly lower as we work our way up towards the second turn, the Hugenholtz Bock, where you go through the right hand and then up into the banking. Saw a couple of drivers running a lot lower of a line, the likes of Timothy Hartic and John Bennett in qualifying back on early Saturday for Kilcarney. It's a higher line, that's the more typical line as they work their way through it, all the way up towards Shivlak, where it's extremely fast, extremely high commitment, onto the brakes, dab it in, get the nose in, and then chuck it over. Unfortunately, a couple of cars going off there on the left-hand side. It is very, very easy to do there with the high-speed commitment. Now into Masters, where you want to get close to that curb, touching it again when it's dry, but when it's wet, you want to stay off of it purely because, again, that paint will certainly send you out wide. Turn 9 and then turn 10. Awkward hairpin here. Really is this sort of medium speed. You want to drop it down a couple of gears and pull it slightly tighter on the exit to make sure you get a good run as you come up and over the crest to end the second sector down into the Hans Ernst Bock. This is an overtaking opportunity, but you do have to be brave. The braking zone for it is so short, and you're trail braking through the corners. You chuck it over to the right hand side and then through the left hand hairpin. Only a couple more corners to focus on before we finish the lap here at Circuit Zandvoort. Of course, the 13th, the penultimate corner, which is tricky, so a couple of dramas in that one yesterday, and then up into the high banks as we head through Ari Lyndike and out onto the start-finish straight, and that will wrap up the 4.2 kilometres circuit here at Zandvoort.
Thanks very much, Lewis. As you can see, the cars are heading out on their formation lap. So for round 14 of the GB3 Championship here in Zandvoort, let's go racing.
And so once again, it is race time. Our journey starting back in Alton Park, of course, in the United Kingdom, before we went to Silverstone, and then, of course, overseas. Spa-Francorchamps, then, of course, the Hungaroring, before rounding out our European road trip here at Circuit Zandvoort. After this, though, the journey does indeed continue as we head back over to Britain for the Silverstone Grand Prix, and then, of course, to Donington Park before ending the season at Brands Hatch. However, focusing on today's occasion, and it will be Circuit Zandvoort. We raced here for the first time back in 2022, and it was exciting, it was thrilling. And man, was it thrilling yesterday. What scenes it was, as the tricky wet conditions meant the drivers had a lot to work through to prevail to take victory. And of course, it was Jon Bennett who came out on top. He is starting, though, from pole position once again. We'll take a look at the starting grid in just a second. It'll be Jon Bennett starting from the front of the field. You can see they're on the formation lap now. They've only got a couple of corners left to go, so let's roll through it quickly. Jon Bennett on pole position alongside Timek Kuharczyk, starting from his 8th consecutive front row start in a qualified race. Of course, the positions behind see Louis Sharp starting from 3rd position, championship leader, of course. James Headley had a podium yesterday. He'll be starting from 4th, which is exactly where he started yesterday. Of course, it's Mackenzie Cresswell in 5th position, with Patrick Huitzenroder starting from his personal best start in GB3, so a fantastic one for the JHR Developments driver. Nikita Johnson in 7th position. Gerard Shee, of course, will start from 8th. Will McIntyre continues his top 10 streak. He's qualified in the top 10 in all of the races thus far. Hugo Schwarzer had 6th yesterday and will start from 10th in this one. Arthur Rosion will start from 11th position, with Colin Queen, who worked up an incredible drive yesterday to move his way up the order. Josh Erfin in 13th position, with Noah Ping starting from 14th. They got a couple of incidents yesterday. Sebastian Murray in 15th position, with Sean Rashid starting from 16th. Another good drive from the American driver yesterday as well. Jared Alberski with a lot of work to do from 17th once more. Ed Pearson rounds out the penultimate row of the grid, with the final row seeing Flynn Jacks and Aditya Kulkarni in 20th position. Of course, Lewis McGlade, Piers Pryor will be taking you through this race. Of course, they'll be rolling their way into the grid. Hearing there was already a bit of drama on the way to the grid. We'll talk through that in just a moment, because it is time to go racing for 13 laps here at Zandvoort, round 14 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, about to get underway. The lights go out and we are racing. Great start from Hugo Schwarzer, and there's a crash with the 2 high-tech Pulsate cars. That was Gerard Shee and Will McIntyre. There's a big crash behind all that. Almost certainly that is going to be a safety car. Great start from Hugo Schwarzer, going through the middle, and already a huge drama. A good start at the front of the field, though, from Timek Kuharczyk, who's already swept his way through. What's happened to Jon Bennett?
Yeah, where's Jon Bennett? Timek Kuharczyk is in the lead of the race, but of course we mentioned that drama in the middle of the pack, taking out at least 3 cars. There was 2 high-techs of Shee and McIntyre and a VRD car. I couldn't quite catch who it was. We'll keep you updated, but still racing until the safety car boards, Lewis.
Yeah, it will be Noah Ping that was surely involved in that. He was around that kind of area. But yeah, Jon Bennett's dropped back, from what I can see, to 5th position. Red flag has been called here, so they will return to the grid. Does that mean that we'll have a restart of the race in the original order? So Jon Bennett will actually return to pole position?
He should do. Was he was on the grid, wasn't he?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I didn't, because we were too busy looking at what was going on in the mid-pack to see what happened to Jon Bennett. So Jon Bennett, thanking his lucky stars that something happened in the middle of the race, in the middle of the pack. A fairly low-speed incident, so hopefully everyone's okay. Looks like all the drivers are up and moving, which is, of course, the first thing that we want to see. They'll be disappointed, but physically okay. The number 33 of Hugo Schwarzer, yeah. He's had such a good weekend so far. Disappointing for him. It looked like it was just a 3-1, a bit of a miscommunication from our first look, Lewis.
But this is a big moment for the championship. I said yesterday, one of the top 4 of the championship, probably not going to be in championship contention by the time we get to the end of the season. One of the top 4 in the championship is involved in that crash. It's Will McIntyre, who's the one over on the left-hand side of shot in the number 21. Again, basically what happened is they'd all kind of started. Hugo Schwarzer got a great start, come down through the middle, and then the 2 high-tech pulses. Obviously, they're not going to know they're really 3 wide at that point. They're both basically just pinched Hugo Schwarzer. That's a racing incident, right?
I mean, again, we've only seen the live pictures that you've seen at home, but from the first look, it does genuinely just look like a racing incident where there's Gerard Shee. Is that Gerard Shee?
No, that's Kuharczyk.
Oh, that's Kuharczyk in the lead, getting in the background. But yeah, it did just look like it was a situation where one driver was reacting to a move of another driver, which put them in a position where there was contact. And unfortunately, at the race start, sometimes it happens. Let's hopefully we're getting a replay of that coming up soon so we can talk you through it.
Well, I mean, maybe you'll be the one
Oh,
to
here we
talk
go.
through this one.
Right,
Yeah.
so let's have a look in the back of shot. We're keeping an eye on Hugo Schwarzer with the orange highlights, number 33 in the middle now. Yes, goes between the two high-tech Pulse 8 cars. They both see Schwarzer coming down the middle and try to cover it off at the same time. Very much a racing incident, Lewis. But at the front of the field, we still didn't look at what happened to John Bennett.
Yeah. now, my request is, can we see that replay once more so we can focus on the other bit in shot? Because, my goodness me, very curious to see what happened. We were so focused on what happened.
Gerard, she is also stopped as well, but not on the start-finish straight. Yeah, let's have a look. Hopefully, we're going to have another look at the race start if we can. That would be great to have a look at the front of the field this time, because John Bennett was, of course, our pole sitter on the right-hand side of shot, the number 11. Let's keep an eye on him. So, initially, a fairly decent launch away from the line.
Down.
We can see the back of shot, the crash, but front again. So, yeah, just a second phase of the start, not good. Whoa, Louis Schuck cut straight to the inside in front of his teammate. Just about made that move. John Bennett still going slowly. You can see now Pat Hoytzenroder going up the inside in the bright blue car. So, yeah, just a really slow start. I'm really hoping there's no issue with that car, because that is a very slow start. Normally, if you get a bad launch away from the line, you can kind of recover it by the time you get to turn one and stem the flow of positions that you're losing. But the fact that he continued to lose all the way into turn one, sometimes when you are doing burnouts and trying to get some temperature in the rear tyres, you can end up with the clutch slipping. So I'm hoping that isn't happening to John Bennett, or hasn't happened to John Bennett, because I don't think that's something they can fix in the pit lane. Well, anyway, we'll confirm the race order, race restart order when we have it, but I would imagine it will go to the original start order.
And I believe that's what live timing has sent us. So it does look as though it will return to John Bennett, Timo Kuharczyk, Louis Sharp, James Headley, and then basically whoever's still in the race. Obviously, there's been an incident that's taken out 3 or so of the cars, 4 of the cars.
Gerard Shee as well, who's not in shot currently.
You're absolutely right. But I will say for John Bennett, I was having a little chat with the guy who's in his ear. I thought it would be a race engineer that would be in his ear. No, it's just Mike Epps.
Mike Epps, yes, driver coach. But it's the thing is, it will depend on the team and the drivers' preference. It doesn't have to be your race engineer. I know that, but I think Rodin, they have a couple of the drivers have their race engineers in their ear. But at JHR, the close relationship between Mike Epps, the driver coach of that team, and John Bennett is close enough that he wants Mike in his ear. And it worked well in qualifying. I spoke to Mike Epps actually after qualifying, which was a somewhat damp affair. And I was watching at the turn 2-3 section, and the only 2 drivers that were going low down the bottom of the banking were Timo Kuharczyk and John Bennett. Where do they start on the grid? First and second. But I spoke to Mike Epps, and apparently Kuharczyk was going low to start with there on the inside of the corner when everyone else was going high, and was going very quickly in sector 1. And then Mike Epps was able to relay that information to John Bennett. He started doing it and then stuck it on pole position. So that's clearly working out for the JHR developments team and also John Bennett in particular. Yeah, because I was having a chat at that point with a couple of the British Formula 4 mechanics, having a little chat with them, and they were like, "Oh, Kuharczyk's on pole position. He's on pole position by a country mile." And then as I started walking over to see you lot, have a little chat, and then see once again like John Bennett had moved at pole position again. Double pole as well. Exactly. It's the first time he's had. The second time he's had double pole. It's his 5th pole position. But last time he had double pole, it didn't go so well, did it, Lewis? No. That was Silverstone last year. He crossed the line as the winner in both races, and that's where the positivities ended. Unfortunately, had the race win stripped of him because of I think one of them was track limits, one of them was an incident. But yes, of course it was contact, wasn't it? He did get a victory earlier on in the year, so he had his 2nd victory yesterday. Ideally, would like a 3rd. I've told him he has to win the 3rd, all 3 races this weekend, because I've delved into the stat book here. Go on, Lewis. Please give me some stats. This is early stuff. I have delved into the stat books to find out the last time a driver took all 3 victories. Can I guess? I would love you to. Is it Enam Ahmed? Is it Enam Ahmed? I think it is. Is it 2016? 1 year later. Oh, 2017. Lewis, we're on the same page here. I'm loving this. It was Enam Ahmed. You're absolutely right. It's almost like we know what we're doing, Lewis. Sometimes. Indeed, it was. Yes, it was 2017. It was the first round. It was at Alton Park. Other people on the grid include Colin O'Keefe, who I'm pretty sure it's his birthday today, isn't it? Is it? No, it was one of his driver's birthdays.
Was it? I don't know.
It was my birthday yesterday.
I don't know.
It was also Richard Randall's. It was your birthday in the week as well, Lewis.
It
and it was
was
Richard
indeed.
Randall,
It
the
was mine on
PR
Wednesday.
officer for the MSV and the GB3 Championship. His birthday a couple of days ago as well. So it's a birthday weekend here in Zandvoort, and we're having a great time.
We are indeed.
I tell you who isn't having a great time is the 4 drivers that were involved in that incident.
No, and to be fair, maybe Jon Bennett, because as much as he might be able to return up towards the top spot, if we, I don't know how it's all going to work.
It should be a full grid return because we didn't complete a full lap.
Exactly.
And it will go back a lap with a red flag, which is then the starting order, minus the drivers that will no longer be able to make the grid.
Exactly. But then, are there the concerns? Is he aware as to what's happened with the car? Because it wasn't just. That's not just wheel spin. That's not.
No.
There's something more that's happened there. Like you said, the car bogged down, whether it's the clutch slipping or whatever. Like there was something more there. And if that is an issue with the car. You're absolutely right. That's not going to be resolved in this red flag.
Well, probably if it is an issue, and we're speculating because of course we have, because we haven't. The reason we're speculating about this is because it's unusual for a car to lose 3 rows and continue being slow all the way to the first corner without something going wrong. Because even if you get a bog down at the start a little bit, or you get some wheel spin, normally you can lose a row, maybe 3 positions. But to lose effectively 2 full rows of drivers, especially for a driver of the experience in this championship of Jon Bennett, who's done tens of, not hundreds, not quite hundreds. Hang on, 3 seasons, 24 races. No, tens of starts. And he's 65, something like that, 60 starts in the championship.
Love your maths.
It's probably wrong. But anyway.
Oh, it's completely wrong.
His starts this year have been very solid. We saw yesterday, again, not the best initial launch, but got enough away to keep the lead into turn 1. And he's done some pretty good starts over the years. Hoping that there's no issues there. And, who knows, he may have pulled a gear a bit early, which would have then made the car bog down, and it's just the momentum. So yeah, we'll see, and we'll actually probably be able to tell when he pulls away from the pit lane on the left-hand side of shot now, because if the car's not quite right, you can tell with the body language sometimes of the car.
I believe, by the way, I'm doing some quick maths in my head, because I never trust a commentator's maths. I believe it might be a 59th start for Bennett.
I was not far away with 60.
I was going to say that's not bad. I'm trying to work it out, but again, never trust a commentator's maths. It's my rule.
Are we counting race starts because we've had two cancellations?
That's why I'm saying it's 61 without the 2 cancelled. So if you account for the cancelled the cancelled races, then it should be
59 before this one.
But then again, I don't know. Who knows? Never trust a commentator's maths. It's always my rule. Unless the spreadsheet's doing the work and telling us the points, that's the only maths I can trust.
But then it is your maths that makes the spreadsheet, Lewis. So technically, we would be trusting your maths regardless.
No, it's different. It's not the same thing, mate. My spreadsheet's flawless, and also partially not made by me, so it's fine.
Should we run through what the grid we think will be, assuming that we go back, so that we can remind everyone who is going to be where?
Well, we'll head down to John's anyway before we do that, because he'll be chatting with a few people and maybe seeing what's happening down there. Let's have a cue.
Well, Lewis, thank you very much. I would have been chatting to people, but the drivers have actually just been whisked off by their team just to make sure they're all okay. I was chatting with Noah Ping, who was the black sort of darker grey car that was on the inside there, and he just told me that he saw the high-tech car. I think it was possibly Will McIntyre going to come across him. He was expecting it to maybe stop in the middle, so he was thinking, you know what, I'll go alongside the wall there. But obviously, when that car went into the wall there, very, very tricky for him to get around, and he tried to go the other way, but unfortunately didn't have enough space to do so. So he's now out of that race there. We're hearing that there's going to be a full grid restart, I think 10 laps potentially. Speaking of Will McIntyre, I don't know if we can zoom into the car there. Will McIntyre's car has just been brought around there, so they're just taking a look at it. Or perhaps that's Gerard Shea's car. I can't actually make out the number on that there. Not looking so good there. Obviously, rear wheel on the left-hand side is not looking good at all. So yeah, that's a little bit of a tricky one for high tech. Very interesting situation actually. I'm just trying to work out if we've got any more people around, drivers now. They have all been whisked off. So we are sort of sitting here ready. As you can see behind, we've got the trucks just recovering the 3 cars that were out on the grid there. Everyone doing their job very, very thoroughly and very, very speedily. So we should be underway fairly soon. And I know Lewis is going to continue to talk you through what's going to happen, as it sounds like we're getting a full grid restart.
Cheers, JJ. Yes, absolutely right. I mean, I say it's going to be a full restart as we were expecting, and also it will be a 10-lap race. Obviously, whilst the red flag has come out, I know we've not done those laps, but obviously this is still a full race weekend. There's a lot more going on, so we'll take a few of those laps away from the drivers. Let's talk you through the grid then that it will be. So John Bennett, Team McGlade, they'll start first and second. Louis Sharp will start from third. James Headley will start from fourth. Mackenzie Cresswell will start from fifth position, with Patrick Huizenroder and Nikita Johnson in sixth and seventh. Then there'll be a gap where there should have been Gerard Shee, Will McIntyre and Hugo Schwarzer, but obviously they will not make the restart of the race. So there'll be a gap there until we get to Arthur Rojan, who's slated to start from 11th position, but of course he'll move up 3 spots. Colin Queen and Josh Erfan will slated to start from 13th position, but again we'll move up 3 spots. Noah Ping will not be on the race start again because again issues for him. So then it will be Sebastian Murray, Jared Roberski, Sean Rashid, Flynn Jacks, Ed Pearson and Aditya Kulkarni starting from those positions further down the grid. We'll go back down to Jonas though.
Thanks, Lewis. Yeah, Hugo Schwarzer is with me here. What happened out there? I mean, we've seen many replays, but it'd be good to get your view.
Yeah, just a chaotic start. Got a really good launch off the line. Was side by side with the 2 high techs, and then was closed in on and nowhere to go for me, unfortunately. But yeah, that's racing. That's what happens at the start. Go again in the race this afternoon.
Have you? I mean, obviously you jumped out of the car there. They're recovering it now. Have you seen what kind of damage there is on the car?
Yeah, the damage is as you'd expect. Not too big, luckily, but the mechanics will be busy before the next race, I'm sure.
Well, we've got plenty of time till then. It's a little bit later in the day. Bad luck, Hugo, but we'll catch up with you again, and hopefully round 3 of this weekend will be a lot more positive for you.
Definitely, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Hugo Schwarzer with Elite Motorsport.
He's always very positive, isn't he? Me.
Some of the drivers look less smiley and jovial than that after they win the race. So Hugo Schwartz, one of the nicest men in the paddock, and he's very. It's not magnanimous. He's very realistic about the situation. He will feel hard done by because he basically got an excellent start, which is what put him in that position. He jumped almost a whole row away from the lights, got in between the 2 high-tech cars, and then they closed in on him again. I don't really feel like you can apportion blame to either of the high-tech cars in the sense of giving a penalty, in my opinion, because they are entitled to move left and right as long as it's safe to do so, but they both made the same decision in opposite directions at the same time. So very much a racing incident. Hugo Schwartz is unlucky, and the other person that's very unlucky in that incident is Noah Ping. He basically arrived at the circuit at very much the wrong time, had nowhere to go, and just clattered into the cars that were stationary on circuit. So he didn't really do anything wrong either.
Now obviously, before we come to that, we've got Noah Ping who's with Jonas.
Yeah, cheers, Lewis. Noah, I kind of briefly tried to describe what you told me earlier, but just describe again from your perspective, kind of what you saw there and what you tried to do.
Yeah, definitely. We get a good launch off the line this time, reacted well to the lights, and I kind of saw a bit of contact in front of me, but I didn't think much of it, maybe just a bit of wheel banging. So I kind of went to the inside to try and stay away from the chaos in the middle, but next thing I know, there's a high-tech car spun right in front of me, and I had nowhere to go. So it's really unfortunate. I know we have good pace in the dry, and I was looking forward to making a few positions on the start and just picking off guys one by one, but it all ended in not even the first corner. So it's unfortunate, and I don't know what happened in front, but I feel bad for the high-tech boys because it's unfortunate for them as well. And Schwarzer, we're all out at the line, which isn't what we want to see. So
obviously the main thing is that everyone is okay. A bit of damage, that's fine, that can be repaired. When you saw that incident, do you think anyone was at fault, or was it just one of those things?
No, to be honest, I didn't even see it. I just saw tire smoke, and the next thing I know, a high-tech car was in front of me. So yeah, glad everybody's okay, but I didn't even see it until the high-tech car was sideways across the track. So no, I can't say who's at fault or who's to blame. Just unlucky for me, for sure.
Absolutely, but we've got another race later on today, so we'll catch up with you then, and best of luck with that one.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it.
There we go, Noah Ping with Arden, VRD Racing by Arden, I'll get that right one day. Let's go back to Lewis, the cars have just left the pit lane.
Thank you, Jonas. And again, lovely to hear from some of the drivers. Unfortunately, not having the best race. Shame for Noah Ping, though. Again, he had a great start yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday's start, I was actually in, when I caught up with Noah before the race, went into their motorhome and they were just looking back at his start from yesterday because he went up about 4 or 5 positions with some excellent manoeuvres around the outside, around the inside, on the tricky conditions. A great start yesterday. Fortunately, today he didn't get to affect those moves once again because he didn't even make it to the start-finish line.
But it is easier to pick up positions when you're starting towards the back.
Well, tell that to Louis Sharp. Tell that to Louis Sharp.
That's all right. It's all right. I'm just playing with you. But of course, we are on a formation that will return round, and it will be a standing start. But those cars that aren't in, no one's moving up the grid. There's just going to be empty slots, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, again, we haven't heard the direct call from the marshals. That's normally standard procedure. So the drivers will be in exactly the same position, geographically on the circuit than they did the original start, and there will be those 4 missing spaces, 3 of them pretty much side by side. So a couple of drivers will have a very good view and plenty of space to work with if you're directly behind those. So the drivers that were behind McIntyre, Schwartz, so it'll be Rojan and Queen will have a lot of space to drive into.
Yeah, exactly. No excuses from that lot then. And of course, got to get those good starts. Got to get down towards turn 1. Very different conditions to what we had yesterday. And of course, these are the first time seeing the track realistically since yesterday. They don't do a practice to start things in the morning. They just jump straight in this race.
There's no warm-up. It's literally the 2 laps they get before the race start, which is the 1 lap from the pits to the grid, and then the lap from the grid to the start. Is all they get to feel the conditions. Of course, they have experience in these cars, these tyres. They'll know that if the track temperature goes up, it will affect the tyres in a certain way and how the car balances. But again, it's a slight voyage into the unknown when you start the Sunday, when the conditions are different to the day before. The conditions are different, but it's not drastically different. It's probably 2 or 3 degrees warmer. Sun is out, so it feels much warmer, which will affect track temperature. But the wind is still very much present.
Yeah, so they'll put themselves in position. But I'm pretty sure that this is just effectively the reconnaissance lap, because they'll still do a formation lap, correct? I would assume they're still doing a formation lap because of all the marshals and stuff. They wouldn't get everyone off the grid and then do a race start. I think they're just getting everyone in position to know where they are. Yeah. Then they'll do the formation lap again, and then we'll go racing. That's what my understanding is.
Oh, hang on, they're moving some drivers. I think it's just because of the spaces. Everyone's being a bit cautious and they want to accidentally be in the wrong space.
Yeah, because this is far too large back here.
1 minute board. We'll call it if we go racing. As some drivers still move up at the back of the field.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the standard procedure would be there'd be a formation lap after this. But
I would imagine so.
Kuharczyk, I mean, he's prepared for anything. There on the left-hand side, the number 22.
Aiming across.
Well, we'll find out, won't we? We'll find out what we're about to do. Where Jon Bennett, though, I mean, the pressure will be on him and the JHR Developments car on the right-hand side in that number 11 to make sure that this will be a good start. Let's see if he actually bogs down a little bit on this formation lap start.
That looked fine. So potentially the first race start was just a bad start. He maybe just got bogged down and then the momentum wasn't quite there.
What does bogging down mean, though?
Good point, actually, Lewis. I shouldn't use colloquialisms such as that that everyone at home may not know. Bogging down effectively is if you get in the wrong rev range for the car. These cars, of course, 2-litre naturally aspirated engines, and they're race engines, so they work very much best at the top of the rev range, so 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 RPM, and they've got 235 horsepower up there. But if you drop down sort of 2,000, 3,000 RPM, you're looking at 100 horsepower. So if you either drop the clutch a bit too much and the revs drop in first gear, or you pull second or third a bit too early, you then lose speed, and then that speed you never regain up to towards turn 1. So potentially just not a good start, and a lifeline for our pole sitter Jon Bennett in this race.
Yeah, well, I hope that was the case. I was expecting an audio description to come with that, but that's fine. It's okay. No, it's okay. Don't want to put any sound effects on there. Of course, we did have a little chat with Patrick Huizenmoser before this race. He's starting from 6th place in that Hard Rock Cocktails bright Miami blue, or almost a green and yellow, almost Australian colours, the green and gold. I mean, what's he going to be doing from there? There you go. You see him coming through. A lot of pressure on his shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a good weekend so far. He's been contesting those Elite Motorsport cars. No, JHR Developments cars. I was getting confused because the colours changed and my brain couldn't handle it. But no, he's had a good weekend. He's had a good pace. He admitted when we spoke to him that his qualifying wasn't quite maybe representative of the pace he's had, especially in dry conditions. So he's hoping to push on, and easy to spot. I mean, when we did the replay of the start the first time, it was definitely Patrick Huizenmoser that was going down the inside. And I like a personalised livery. Helpfully, most of the teams who have the same livery in all the cars have different coloured wing flaps and rear wing beams for us to identify them. So, for example, Mackenzie Cresswell in the yellow Elite car has the white highlights, and Hugo Schwarzer has the orange ones and stuff like that.
Yep, and obviously Wilberski has the blue ones, so at least there's that. No, you're absolutely right. But I really do like that livery. I think it looks absolutely fantastic, especially in person, we'll say. Having seen it whooshing its way around the circuit, it does look good. But I mean, even there, you can see it from a mile away. But again, our focus has to be slightly ahead. Can Jon Bennett hang on to the race lead? It's the start there looked okay.
Let's also not count out our championship leader starting directly behind him in third place. We know how good he is off the line. We saw the amazing start he had in Budapest when he went from, was it 5th or 4th, to the lead in just half a lap. Brilliant first lap from him, and he also had a good start in the first go at this race. He was from 5th to 1st. Can he go 3rd to 1st in this one? Lights are about to go on, and let's see this race get underway.
Indeed, it'll be shortened down to 10 laps here for GB3. Already James Headley I saw moving on the left-hand side of the shot, but we are racing here. It's going to be a poor start from Headley, and it's another poor start from Jon Bennett. Timek Kuharczyk will come through to take over the race lead in that number 22. The number 7 of Louis Sharp moves up in a second position. Big lock up there on the front right for Jon Bennett as he almost squeezes out Mackenzie Cresswell at the first corner. They work their way through that first turn. James Headley's only dropped back a couple of positions. Same with Jon Bennett as they're all coming through single file now as we work our way up towards the Hugenholz box.
Yeah, another tricky start for Jon Bennett. Too much wheel spin this time. I saw the rear tyres light up and the car squirm, but he's trying to get back one of those positions as he's right under the rear wing of our championship leader in the number 7 Rodin car, black and white of Louis Sharp. Sharp defending, you can't go around the outside of turn 6, that's far too quick around there, and Bennett has to settle in for 3rd, but a perfect start for Timek Kuharczyk in the number 22 grey high-tech Pulsate car.
Yeah, shy flag there. It's not really the greatest overtaking opportunity, certainly not around the outside. You've got to be brave to try that one. That said, he has put a move around the outside of Louis Sharp so far this season, and it was for his first victory in GB3 back in Alton Park. Plenty of battles behind all of this, though, as a few drivers are trying to work their way up the order. I'm pretty sure I saw the likes of Artur Rojon, who's actually made up a solid amount of progress. Jon Bennett was quite close there for second position, I saw, as we work our way down towards chicane. A little bit deep there coming in from Louis Sharp. He knows he's got to get through because Louis Sharp is the championship leader. Jon Bennett still has aspirations of winning this title, and the top 4 are extremely tight when it comes to the championship lead.
It is very, very tight in the championship and also in this race. Third place, well, I was going to say third place, not third place. James Headley, you mentioned on the start, had a little creep, and it looked like, to my eyes, he may have just gone over the line that he's that you're allowed to stay in, but we'll keep an eye on anything from race control as we see side by side Colin Queen and Artur Rojon.
Yeah, indeed. We'll get the note there as Artur Rojon gets to the outside. Big move there, coming to the inside. Sean Rashid pushes him straight off, and that'll be Artur Rojon into the gravel. He'll be dropping right the way down to the rear of the field. Race start is under investigation for the number 2, James Headley, and the number 18, Artur Rojon, so I think that will be a creep, and I think it might be a post-race time penalty for James Headley.
Oh, someone in the wall! Who's that?
It's
Oh
Louis
my
Sharp!
God!
Louis Sharp is in the barrier. The championship leader here at turn 3 at the Hugenholz box is into the barrier and is out of the race. The safety car instantly has been called. This is a massive moment for the championship.
Huge, Lewis. We didn't see what happened. I heard a little crunch and wondered what it was. I wonder if James Headley has thrown it up the inside of turn number 3 and then Sharp's tried to hold it around the outside, or whether it's just a simple mistake. I mean, it's blustery windy today, so that can affect the way the car goes, but generally in that corner, turn 3, so banked and shielded from the wind, it may just be a mistake. If we can get a replay, unfortunately we're hearing that we haven't got a replay at this moment in time, but we'll have to hear from Louis Sharp after the race. But huge moment, our championship leader is out.
Yeah, and like I say, I mean, Bennett was the one directly behind him. He was looking pretty aggressive, was desperate for an attempt. Like I say, maybe that was the case. We simply will not know until we've caught up with the drivers, but wow, that is a big moment. Obviously, Louis Sharp has had a couple of big moments in the championship. Distinctly remember the third race at Spa, an instant between himself, Louis Sharp, of course, his teammate Ugo Ugochukwu, and a certain fairly aggressive Noah Ping on that Sunday afternoon. He had points removed from him there, and like you say, the frustrations here. I mean, this is the pressure. The championship's building. We're in the second half of the season now. We're building up to that title race at West Kingsdown.
What did I say yesterday, Lewis? Championships are won not on your good days, but on your bad days. And we don't know whether it was Sharp's fault or whether something else untoward has happened. We will hear from that in the fullness of time. But it definitely affects the championship. Lewis is looking at his spreadsheet at the moment. It's going to start having a look to see what the ramifications of this are. But I know the ramifications were going to be in the favour of this man that we're looking at right now, the number 22 high-tech Pulsate car, the Polish-born Timek Kuharczyk, who has had both of his championship rivals taken out of this race now. There's McIntyre and Sharp.
And obviously, Louis Sharp and Will McIntyre were first and second in the championship coming into this. The championship, it would be 26 points between the top 4 in the championship after this.
Love
Team
that.
if things finish as they are.
Let's remind the people at home, 35 points for a race win in race number 1 and race number 2.
Team Kuharczyk would lead the championship by 11 points over Jon Bennett. There'd be 11 further points back to Louis Sharp, and then there'd be 4 points back to Will McIntyre. So that gap's obviously unchanged because the pair of them won't be scoring points. So basically, the championship is still very close because it's the top 2 in the championship that have had the issue in this race.
Wow.
And of course, again, that is also saying that, what if Jon Bennett gets past? Then it's going to be even closer. You just never really know. Bennett definitely has the capability in his hands, but front wing damage on Jon Bennett.
What? The plot thickens, Lewis.
Here we go.
The plot thickens. And it's on the right-hand side of Jon Bennett's car. And if he's gone up the inside of Louis Sharp, then that would suggest that there has been...
He's had him.
Oh, Lewis, the drama. We don't like to see contact. We don't like to see championship rivals going out of the race. But as a neutral, I'm loving this championship, Lewis. You can't call it. You cannot call it.
There is something spicy indeed. I mean, like you say, we'll say it again, 2+2 on that one. A car's been in the barrier and there's a car with front wing damage. We don't have a replay, so we cannot confirm either way. But generally speaking, there has been contact between the two of those as to who is
almost
at fault,
certainly.
whatever. Yeah, we don't know. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Almost certainly. There'll be 10 minutes left to go. This will be a timed race, by the way. There'll be 10 minutes left to go, which
that's proper damage. That's damage so much so that Jon Bennett is not going to be able to continue at full racing speed. He's either going to have to come in the pits and get that changed, or he's going to be very, very slow because the lot of the load from the front wing that is put down, it has to go through the chassis and to then push on the tyres to give you grip. And if the ring's dragging on the ground, that force goes into the ground and not into the tyres, and they'll be understeering. And also, it's a potential safety issue. So if they have said, yes, JHR preparing a front wing.
Yeah, and it's not like what we have in, say, GB4, which obviously we were racing at Snetterton over this weekend as well. We kind of talked through that. If you lose a front wing in that, you can still, or you have a damaged front wing of that, you can still kind of get after a little bit.
Salvage a result.
Exactly. In this, these cars are way too aero dependent. If you have a damaged front wing, you're not continuing. Jon Bennett has remained out. I'm curious as to whether he'll get the legendary meatball flag. What's that?
The meatball flag. Well, it's a flag that's not officially known as the meatball, but it's the black flag with the orange circle that lets the drivers know that their car is in a condition that is not safe for racing. They must return to the pits to have it assessed and potentially work done. That front wing, I would suggest, is unsafe because if that does fully dislodge with only one mounting of the two, it can go under the car, it can then sit under the car, take the pressure off the front wheels and can cause a further accident. He probably may not have known that his front wing is damaged that badly the first time around the pits because, again, we're getting excellent view from all the TV cameras we have around the circuit and a great job from the team who are filming. But the team will only be able to see how bad the damage is if they're watching in person. They may be on this first sector. So I would imagine we'll see Jon Bennett in the pits at the end of this lap to get that front wing changed, and he'll be pretty much at the back of the field.
You don't think Mike Epps is watching the stream, is listening to our commentary, passing and relaying the information to Jon Bennett?
I think it's more likely they're watching live timing. I don't know exactly what they do because, of course...
I'd want to see what's happened with the car, though. I'd want to see, because, again, like you say, you're absolutely right. You only get the vision on the start-finish straight, but you've got radios in this. If Jon Bennett says, oh, I've got damage in the car, I'd instantly want to be able to look at the stream or look at the broadcast and be like, can we see the car?
We're speculating. We'll, of course, hopefully catch up with Jon Bennett at some point to hear his side of the story as well, because unfortunately we didn't quite catch up with so much drama going on throughout the back of the field. It's understandable the cameraman didn't quite get that because it looked like it was pretty line astern at the front, but potentially Sharp may have made a small mistake on the exit at turn 1, which then put Bennett into within striking range. But lights are still on the safety car, so potentially one more lap while they retrieve that.
Live timing says safety car is
okay.
This lap.
Good spot, Lewis. Yeah, we'll see. So yeah, Jon Bennett, unfortunately, is not even going to be able to take this front wing change under the safety car conditions. So maybe he's considering that because there's only how many minutes left? Where am I looking?
It'll be 5. There's 7 minutes 20 seconds left to go. It'll be 5
laps. Maybe he's considering that he's going to lose less if he can just stay out and just try and get some points on the board, because it is all about minimising any damage in terms of points. And Tim Kuharczyk is back in the field up now. He's going to probably go before the last corner, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye and
I think he might go now. This is where Jon Bennett went yesterday,
and it worked well for him. No, haven't quite gone yet, and the field backing up. They shouldn't be. There we go. Timothy Kuharczyk has now dropped and put the hammer down. It's actually a fairly good restart from Jon Bennett, but he's going to be really struggling with front end grip through that corner there, and you can see immediately Timothy Kuharczyk is able to pull a gap because Bennett is hobbled, and unfortunately his friend James Headley won't be able to overtake until the start-finish line.
Yeah, as here we go then down towards turn 1. James Headley then will pull to the inside. I don't think those two will be on the podium today, as James Headley will make his move up into second position. Number 2, do remember he's under investigation though for the race start as well. Mackenzie Cresswell was looking to the outside, bit of a lock-up in the background. The 2 VRD Racing by Arden cars there having a little bit of a fight, of course. Sean Rashid, and that'll be Nikita Johnson with Sean Rashid straight down the inside. Johnson has gone high as they work their way through the bank into the Hugenholtz box, and that will be, I think it won't actually end up being a position switch. No. It'll be Nikita Johnson still ahead. Jared Wilburski was trying to squeeze his way past in the background there in the yellow and blue. Yeah, it was a dive up the inside of turn 3 on his teammate from Sean Rashid. Got the move done in the middle of the corner. Great cut back from Nikita Johnson. Unfortunately, the poor exit from Rashid left him under pressure, and it looks like Rashid's actually managed to make his way through. Yeah, indeed. Wilburski's made his move on Rashid. Look at Pat Eisenroder though in the middle of the woods. Colin Queen, by the way, 6th position again. He's having a mega drive this weekend, despite having the poor qualifying for that Fortec car. He'll be right on the rear end of the distinctive Miami blue of Patrick Eisenroder's car, desperate to try and find a way through, as will Nikita Johnson. At the moment though, it's a good lead coming out from Timothy Kuharczyk. He's pulled out 3/4 of a second. There's Jon Bennett feeling the pressure from another one of his old teammates and good mates, Mackenzie Cresswell, of course. Yeah, Jon Bennett lost a second in the middle sector alone, so he's dropping back fairly quickly, which is keeping this group together, as we see Jared Wilburski actually now just making the move on Sean Rashid. I was mistaken, he didn't get it done yet. Car number 11, meatball flag. I just saw that, Lewis. Mechanical flag. Car number 11, Jon Bennett. He will have to come into the pits at the end of this lap. Yeah, there he is. Straight into the pit lane. Expected, unfortunately, from Jon Bennett. Should have done it under the safety car because they could have rejoined the back end of the fight, but you know, needs must. They were desperate to try and stay out. I'm hearing maybe there might have even been a little bit of contact elsewhere around the circuit, but look at the lead from Kuharczyk, 3 seconds. It'll be a slow front wing change. Unfortunately, it's a big move to the inside. Nikita Johnson, bit of a slip and slide as well at the top end of Hugenholtz, blocked by Patrick Eisenroder in that bright, almost again Miami blue. It's more of a turquoise, let's be honest. Let's go with turquoise, but it's a striking livery. But Eisenroder having a great race, as is Colin Queen, the car we were just looking at then in the number 62 Fortec Motorsports car. Good work by the JHR team to get that front wing on fairly swiftly. Of course, no quick releases like they have in Formula 1, and less members of the team. Colin Queen has a small lock up into the middle sector. How did Colin Queen get to 4th? He got past Eisenroder. Yeah, but he was in 6th position last time I checked. He's having a ridiculous drive as Colin Queen. What at the moment. Again, it is his first season in GB3. He racked up his best ever finish in the previous race with 7th spot. He's looking at the back end of a podium right now. And also, who's under investigation? Oh yeah, James Headley under investigation for a jump start. So if that goes off, Colin Queen could go from outside the top 10. Outside the top 10? Oh yeah. He finished in. Where did he start? He started 12th. He could go from 12th to 3rd. That would potentially be one of the drives of the season, Lewis. Absolutely, incredible stuff. We'll have 3 laps of racing left to go, and he'll want to do it on the circuit himself. Kuharczyk sets the fastest lap of the race as Colin Queen, drive of his life at the moment, up to 4th position from 12th on the starting grid, looking to move his way through to maybe steal a podium off of Mackenzie Cresswell. He's pulled away from Patrick Eisenroder to a decent margin, and he's now going on the attack in what has, let's be very honest here, a struggling Fortec team so far this season. This would be a mega result and a mega drive, showing that they do still have it. Yeah, they've just not quite been where they expect to be normally. We've seen a couple of years ago, they were one of the teams to beat with Hiel Grandforce, who took Luke Browning right to the championship. But then this year, Pearson and Queen haven't quite been on the pace that they would like to be at. But this weekend, as soon as the racing has started, Colin Queen has been on an absolute mission, and he's piling the pressure on the start of this lap. He was right behind Mackenzie Cresswell. He'll be hoping to do the same again, and I don't think he's lucked into it, Lewis. Of course, he's made the best of the people falling either way, but he's made genuine overtakes on circuit. He's had genuine pace. He's pushing one of our championship, Mackenzie Cresswell is 5th in the championship at the moment, so genuine pace from Colin Queen, really, really impressive. Looks like we've got 2 minutes plus a lap to go.
I think that's. I think we're actually going to be still very much on a timed race, aren't we?
Yeah, I believe it should still be 2 laps for this. I'm not sure about the +1 on there, but we'll get an update from you from race control, of course. Kuharczyk, though, leading and is comfortably clear. It's 5.6 seconds clear. My goodness me. Absolutely on a tear at the moment as he's looking for his 4th victory in GB3 this year.
Do you want to know how much faster Timek Kuharczyk was than James Headley on that last lap?
2.5.
No, 1.3 seconds. Last lap, 31.6 from Timek Kuharczyk, and James Headley at 33.0.
Great from Wilberski as well, by the way. You can see there on the position switch to Wilberski up 11 spots, Colin Queen up 9, Ed Pearson. So both Fortec cars going really well here because Ed Pearson's up 10 himself.
Wow, Fortec have definitely found something this weekend. Edward Pearson also up 10 positions, Colin Queen up 9. I was about to say driver of the season from Colin Queen up 9. It would definitely be one of the drives of the season, but let's not ignore Jared Wilberski up 11 positions, up into 7th place. The driver we're looking at now, the yellow Elite Motorsports car with the blue highlights.
Yeah, indeed, as they work their way through turn 10. Colin Queen with a bit of a look in the red and white there, just trying to maybe fill the mirrors of Mackenzie Cresswell, looking for a move past the Elite Motorsports driver. Can't quite find his passageway. This is where Zandvoort can be such a difficult one to pass. I think Jared Wilberski is very close to the back end of Nikita Johnson, though, so whilst one Elite is feeling the pressure, the other one is going on the attack. That number 20 there, that is Jared Wilberski with the blue highlights on that Elite Motorsports car. You can see the VRD Racing of Nikita Johnson, the VRD Racing by Arden of Nikita Johnson is feeling that pressure right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jared Wilberski's up 11 and he's not done. He's not done yet. We know that Jared Wilberski loves getting stuck and he's a great racer. We saw it in GB4 in a couple of years ago, and of course raced last season as well with a different team. And he's looking around the outside of Tarzan the first corner. It's going to be a brave man to go all the way around there. We'll be looking for a cutback. He could have a look into turn 3 side by side. He's got a look at the inside of turn 2. Johnson defends, squeezes Wilberski. Wilberski keeps his foot in, no. And who's that right behind them? The number 91 of Seb Murray getting involved. This would be one of his best results of the season as well.
Absolutely, Sebastian Murray is flying in all this. Well, I do believe, at least according to my time sheets, I do believe this is the final lap of the race. I'm not sure about the +1 lap, whether we're going to do it or not, but either way, at the moment, I think we're heading towards a very comfortable Timek Kuharczyk victory, but it's about what happens behind all that. James Headley, Mackenzie Cresswell, Colin Queen, Hoytson Roda are all very close as well. We saw the Johnson-Wilberski battle. That's what we're looking at now with, of course, Sebastian Murray and Ed Pearson right on the back of it. Could be more drama yet.
Wow. This is a real dramatic race. This is the race order that potentially we wouldn't have guessed at the start. And yes, of course, we lost 3 cars out of the top 10, 4 cars in total. But a lot of these drives through the field are as well as that, not because of that.
Yeah, indeed. As we work our way into the final sector, then up and over the curbs once more, just trying to throw their way through as hard as possible. I think Kuharczyk's going to be coming through the final corner, and there is the checkered flag out. So Timek Kuharczyk, welcome back to the championship lead. Timek Kuharczyk back to the top step of the podium for the 4th time this season. James Headley in 2nd position, but is under investigation. Cresswell, Colin Queen, drive of the season there to 4th spot. Absolutely incredible. Brilliant
drive from Colin Queen. Potentially a podium if James Headley's jump start is confirmed by the stewards and he gets a penalty. Jared Wilberski, a great drive. Nikita Johnson, a great drive up into 6th place. Seb Murray inside the top 10. Can you compare that? That might be his first top 10 in a race number 1 or number 2 this season, Lewis. Potentially his first top 10 of the season overall. I'll let you talk about that.
He's had 2.
2nd of the season. Sorry, my mistake. Where was his first?
He had his first at Alton Park, and then he had another one in race 2 at Spa, actually. That was 8th place.
So I tell you what, I'm just completely wrong.
No, it's his joint personal best finish. Either way, it is a very good drive regardless. That is the important bit, but a very impressive drive from this driver here. Already, I've seen fans still out here for Kuharczyk. They're everywhere.
There's always Polish fans cheering on Timek Kuharczyk. He's got building a very good following for the young man from Poland already, and clearly his driving is worthy of that following, because a dominant victory in what was a tricky race and 7 seconds over the line. Wow.
Yeah, it's more dominant than the one from John Bennett yesterday, that's for sure. It's a very impressive drive from Kuharczyk, and like you say, just looking like he's maybe back to being the man to beat, obviously after the issues there for Louis Sharp. To be fair, I will say this, he's won the race, and all 3 of his championship rivals have had issues. In fact, obviously Louis Sharp's not scored, Will McIntyre's not scored, and John Bennett did finish down in 15th spot, so he's only scored a couple of points. So realistically speaking, he's opened up a 20 or so point championship lead. I will update you with those points once we've done with the podiums though, but as they'll work their way in. The only thing, I will feel bad if James Headley, because he's not going to get a penalty now, it won't be until a little bit later on. So with that time penalty, we're not actually going to know who's finishing on the podium until comfortably afterwards, which might steal the podium spotlight away from Colin Queen. If he does end up getting it, of course, he's still got a lot to deal with from race control. One thing that we do know, though, he has won again. It is Timek Kuharczyk onto the top step of the podium for the 4th time this year. And it will, of course, be in emphatic fashion. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy for him to have done so. He's had 7 podiums now this season, retakes the championship lead, and that will taste very, very sweet for both he and the Polish fans. There's a lot of work to do, though, starting from 11th position in the race later on this afternoon, of course, the reverse grid race. But that said, with drives like that, you just never really know. It could be the time where a lot of the drivers will be bouncing their way up. There is James Headley. Could it be his last weekend in GB3? It's been quite a story watching Headley through the last couple of years and the fantastic performances that he's put on. But alas, unfortunately, it could be coming to a close. Budget issues and all that likes. He obviously struggled through last year as well and did a fantastic job. And again, each race weekend he goes to, you're just never really sure what you're going to get. And I mean, he's such a quality driver as James Headley. It'd be sad to lose him from GB3. Either way, though, Jonas is catching up with our podium finishers.
Thanks very much, Lewis. Yeah, Timek Kuharczyk, race winner here, 4th race win of the season. Going very well for you.
Yeah, oh, what a race. The pace has been mega, I think we knew on track would be super quick. Happy to deliver it, 2 great starts. And then, yeah, made it stick, good use of, my championship fight. Got a bit in better position, I would say, as, Louis crashed out, I think Will crashed out, and then John had to pit. So yeah, really good, really happy. The pace been awesome, and yeah, super happy to deliver. Super thankful to High Tech GP boys for making the car super quick today.
It's very, very quick and very impressive. Another podium for High Tech Pulsate. That's a ridiculous record now. Did you see the incident between Louis Sharp and John Bennett behind you?
Not really. I was in the middle of the corner. I just seen Louis going in the wall. So I guess that had to be there's some contact when John tried to overtake him. But that's racing, and yeah, I'm happy to focus on my side that we nailed the start again and made it to P1 and just clear the field, which was the most important thing for us.
It must be very nice as well to see that huge Polish flag in the grandstand every time you go around.
Yeah, that's super. I'm super grateful to all the fans. There's a lot of people around the track supporting me, so yeah, super grateful for them and happy to deliver.
Look, you've given them a race win, another podium, and there's another race coming up later on today, so you could make it a triple for them. Timek, congratulations, and we'll catch up again later.
Thank you.
That's Timek Kuharczyk, race winner. Let's go and find Mr. James Headley. James Headley blending into the distance. Here he is. James.
Hello, Jonas.
That's another podium for you and another impressive performance.
Yeah, great result for the team. Unfortunate to what happened with the guys in front. You never want to see it like that, but yeah, it is what it is. It's racing sometimes. Thanks, Phil. So yeah, we just stayed clean. Got a bad start, and then jumped Cresswell, got him back, and then yeah, maintained the position, and that ended up being second. So yeah, really good.
I imagine you can barely hear what I'm saying, but yesterday you shared the podium with your good friend John Bennett. Today you overtook him.
Yeah, I think he had a slight handicap with his front wing damage. So yeah, I'd always want to overtake him fair and square, but yeah, unfortunate what happened to him. I didn't see I was too far back, but I was really struggling with pace out there today. But it seemed like other people were as well. But yeah, glad we managed to hang on to P2.
Impressive drive. We'll let you get your trophy in a second. James Headley there with Rodin, and we're going to find Mackenzie Creswell really quickly for one question. Hey Mackenzie, that's more of what you want at podium.
Yeah, it was right. Yeah, it was a decent race. To be fair, I didn't have to work too hard for it. Yeah, thankfully it's kind of it went our way today, which was good. But yeah, the pace at the end was not too bad compared to the cars around me. But yeah, we need to work on a couple of things for the race tomorrow. Sorry, later today, not tomorrow.
You brought home a trophy. Is it coming home tonight?
I can't say no, can I? So, fingers crossed, yeah.
Awesome stuff. We'll let you get your trophy. Mackenzie Cresswell, third place driver with Elite Motorsports. And these guys are now going to collect their trophies as we head about 3 metres to my left for the podium.
Thank you, John, is there, and there you can see the podium again. We're doing it down this end. The weather is slightly better, but obviously yesterday we did it in the garage because it was absolutely miserable. Much better conditions though today, and a much better time for these drivers to collect their trophies. Mackenzie Cresswell being a little bit coy, as he was pre-race as well, to be fair, about the predictions for this evening's small match of kicking a ball around. But we'll have to wait and see as to how things will pan out for him later on this afternoon. Of course, taking another fantastic podium for Mackenzie Cresswell. It will be a 4th of the season. Still waiting to see that victory for Mackenzie Cresswell this year. James Headley obviously onto the podium for the 2nd time this year, and Timothy Kuharczyk taking victory, of course. And with that, it will be the Omologato Ones to Watch award by taking the victory in this race, as well as 2nd place. And that's the highest point score for race 1 and race 2 over a given weekend, and that will almost certainly be Timothy Kuharczyk once again this season. I think it's the 3rd time he's won that. Either way, let's take a look at highlights from the race. Highlights from round 14 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. In the initial race start, saw John Bennett struggle off of pole position. There was a great start in the background though, as of course Hugo Schwarzer would come to the middle, and unfortunately he'd be pinched by 2 high-tech Pulsate drivers, and of course there'd be an incident as well that would see Noah Ping get involved. That would cause a red flag, as the marshal would have to clean up the drama on the start-finish straight, and then we'd reset our positions and go at racing. We'll obviously take a replay at Hugo Schwarzer trying to go through the middle, and unfortunately slotting that gap and just not quite getting it right with the 2 high-tech Pulsates going either side. Eventually we would get the race start back underway, and it was a poor one again from John Bennett as the wheel spin would drop him back a couple of positions. Timothy Kuharczyk working his way up to the race lead. A potential jump start from James Headley as there was a bit of a lock-up, a panic lock-up from John Bennett, who'd almost go into the side of Mackenzie Cresswell. Later on in the race there was some drama for Louis Sharp, who'd been sent out into the barrier with some damage to the front wing, of course, of John Bennett. 2+2 means those two most certainly made contact. Bennett would be given the black and orange flag, meaning that he'd have to return to pit lane to repair the car, but the race start would be back in the control of Team Kuharczyk once the safety car had picked the field up and they'd rescued Louis Sharp's car. They'd be back out racing. Louis Sharp obviously not in the race, and Team Kuharczyk pulling out a mega championship lead as John Bennett would return into the pit lane to have that front wing repaired. It was a 4th victory of the season from Team Kuharczyk, who would lead over the line. A fantastic drive from James Headley and Mackenzie Cresswell. Truly was a brilliant performance as Team Kuharczyk will retake the championship lead. We'll take a look at the provisional results, of course, from the 2nd race of the weekend. Kuharczyk taking a dominant performance, a dominant victory at the front of the field, with James Headley in 2nd spot, 7.5 seconds back. Mackenzie Cresswell in 3rd, Colin Queen in 4th, Patrick Huizenroder, of course, in 5th position. That's an excellent drive from him. Nikita Johnson in 6th, Jared Olberski from 17th to 7th, with Sebastian Murray inside the top 10 once again for the 3rd time this season. Ed Pearson with a great drive showing Fortec have got some decent pace this weekend, and Arthur Rojon rounding out the top 10. This also obviously wasn't where all of the major drama was. It was in those positions lower down from this, where of course we would see the likes and the retirements of the likes of Louis Sharp and John Bennett outside of the top 10. Of course the finishers inside it would see Irfan Kulkarni, Sean Rashid and John Bennett, who would be a finisher in the race, and of course the retirements for Louis Sharp, for Will McIntyre, for Gerard Shee, for Noah Ping as well. We'll take a look at the, again, provisional championship standings. It will be Team Kuharczyk leading the championship by 22 points over Louis Sharp, because the other 3 drivers in the championship contention right now, well, they had an absolute disaster. Louis Sharp there in 2nd, Will McIntyre and John Bennett, who does classify as scoring a couple of points from that one, so at least he is remaining fairly close, but 34 points separating the top 4. Still, a race victory is 35 points in race 1 and race 2. We'll discuss race 3 a little bit later on. Mackenzie Cresswell in 5th position, with Jared Olberski in 6th in the standings. Chikwu, of course, not racing this weekend and wasn't racing last weekend. Hopefully we'll see him back in the championship. Obviously he's 7th in the standings, with Gerard Shee in retirement from that race in 8th. James Headley moves up inside the top 10 of the standings, of course, having missed a round at the Circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. And Arthur Rojon moves up into the top 10 courtesy of the issues for Hugo Schwarzer, who's moved a little bit further back down. Few drivers outside of the top 10 there. I mean, you've got the likes of Colin Queen and Patrick Hoytenrode who aren't that far away, and the pace they've been showing this weekend, maybe we'll see that that back end of the top 10 switch around quite dramatically before racing action is done at the end of today. We'll catch up though with Piers Pryor, who's finding some drivers down in pit lane.
Right, so I'm here in the pit lane. Some very, very noisy cars in the race afterwards, but Colin Queen, Colin, we saw amazing drive from yourself up to the field, but just talk to us about the race from your perspective.
Yeah, no, it was hectic. Definitely one of the most hectic races of the season. Got so lucky on the start, you know, it was a big shunt. I think they missed me by like probably a couple millimeters, but yeah, you know, just took my chances after that. Got a good 2 restarts. And yeah, no, had really good pace. You know, the car was really well put together. Can't thank Fortec enough for that. Yeah, no, best drive of the season for sure.
And also, Fortec worked really well because your teammate Ed Pearson, great pace, moved up a lot of positions as well.
Awesome. Where did you finish?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was about 10th-ish. But also, just have a quick chat about the fact that, you know, James Headley was under investigation for a jump start as well. So you're currently sitting in 4th position. That could end up being a 3rd place. You must be over the moon with that, if that happens. Again, not confirmed.
No, we'll see. We'll see for sure. You know, we won't know until it's official. So, you know, yeah, we'll just see.
Colin, great drive from yourself. Thanks very much for chatting to us. We're going to grab a word with Nikita Johnson now. So, Nikita, another great drive. Hey, that was a pretty chaotic race we just heard from Colin, but what was it like for yourself?
Yeah, it was pretty fun. The start, the very first one kind of sucked with all the crashes. It's good that everybody's okay, but you know, we sat on pit lane for a while. We finally got to go again, and then I think it was another yellow. So we didn't get too many laps in, but overall it was a pretty good race. We struggled a little bit with tires because we're saving our new set for race 3 since I'm starting 2nd. But we struggled a little bit with aero wash and the tires, but really fun race.
Yeah, it looked like a fun race as well, with Jared Boberski was all right on your tail towards the end.
Yeah, it was very tough. They were just going away big time, and I was just trying to keep him behind me, so I was blocking pretty good.
Nikita, thanks for catching up with us. We'll see you get on race number 3, and I'm hoping to grab a word with Patrick Hoytenrode. Wow, that car is loud. Patrick, we caught up with you. We caught you after yesterday's race. Really tough yesterday. Car looks great, but also great drive from yourself.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, we got 2 goes at the start. The first one was really good. Got on the inside of John, who put me next to the wall, but I didn't back out and went through, and then red flag. So then we got another go at it. It wasn't quite as good. But then, you know, kept the tyres warm, safety car, and then Colin just got past me a couple laps after that.
He was on a mission, though.
He was. I think maybe he has like a straight line speed with wing or something, but, you know, we'll see. He did drive well, and yeah, we'll see what we can do starting race 3rd in race 3.
3rd in race 3, a good opportunity for you to score some more points. Pat, we'll let you go and debrief with the team. It's great to hear from some of the drivers who did so well in that race. We're hoping to, of course, bring you some more excellent racing later on. And we'll just move back a little bit because I think we're just going to get in the way here. I'll bring Jonas in just to round out that race. Jonas, that was so much drama.
Nice close look at the hard rock cocktails car there. So I mean, like, honestly, this, I can't describe this colour. We've called it Miami blue. We've called it green,
turquoise.
teal. It's not teal, is it?
No, it's not teal.
It's very noticeable on the track, and I'm glad that good result for Pat. Yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it? And we also had, you know, Ed Pearson was great for Fortec. We mentioned him earlier as well. So I mean, we're going to catch up with some Seb Murray as well. Chris Titman Racing. We're going to catch up with loads of the drivers there, and we'll bring you that before race 3. Race 3 is coming up a little bit later on today. In between that, we've also got another GB4 race at Snetterton, 152 miles west of here, which isn't actually that far away. It's actually closer from here to there than, I believe, what was it, Snetterton to Alton Park you worked out?
So we're close to Snetterton as the crow flies than Snetterton is to Alton Park, so there you go.
Look at that, ridiculous. I think it'll take longer to drive there, though. So we'll be back a little bit later on. All the photos, all the videos and everything can be found on the GB3 social media channels. You can read Richard Randall's full race report at the GB3 website as well. And we'll see you a little bit later on this afternoon for more GB3 action.